Just 10 days ago, Bitcoin literally made a brand new all-time high. But if you look at the timeline, sentiment is at all-time lows. Now, I personally still don't think that the bull market is over and everyone is blowing this way out of proportion. In today's video, we'll be going over the most recent Bitcoin price action, what I think could be happening next, and of course, taking you through some of the overall sentiment in the market. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. First of all, you cannot blame people for feeling very bearish on Bitcoin because as you can see, we're printing these kinds of patterns, a classic head and shoulder pattern on the 1 hour time frame. Now, you can see here that on Coinbase, this wick brought us all the way down to around $107,000. This is a key pivot zone. Over the past few days, we've been talking about the high possibility of us at least filling more of the wick than we've seen so far. And right now, it seems like this is playing out. I also wanted to show you this chart over here, which I thought was extremely important. And it basically outlines where Bitcoin should be seen as strong, where it should be seen as a chopping environment, and where it should be seen as weak. Currently, you can see that Bitcoin is in the weak zone. When we're between 112 and 117.3K, give or take a few $100s, that should be seen as the chopping zone. And strong is, of course, above 107.3K onwards. Now, taking a look at this Bitcoin chart, we are actually just hovering below $112,000. Now, I was personally expecting this weakness, but it's a very tricky environment to be trading because, yes, of course, if we go ahead and fill the wick, you might think, well, I really wanted to go and enter a short. However, shorting here is not the best risk-adjusted returns because we can easily get a bounce from anywhere. And right now, as I'm recording this video, you can see that Bitcoin is back below $110,000. I didn't want to go long. I also did not want to go short because we just continue to chop around and we got rejected from this key cluster that we outlined in my past videos, right between $116,000 to $117,000, which would put us in the mid zone, the chop zone, as I just outlined. So, what is next for Bitcoin? We can easily go back down and fill some more of that wick, and things would probably get even worse in terms of sentiment. But I need to issue a warning. Please do not give up here. We don't have confirmation that one, the bear market has started. That confirmation, just to remind you, would be if we start getting those closes below $101,000, which is where we got that wick. Or if you look at Coinbase, if we start to get closes well below $107,000, I would start to get worried. However, the most important level, in my opinion, if we go on the daily time frame, would be this key pivot zone, $98,000. 98K. Would you be able to handle that? You have to ask yourself that question. We have seen weirder things in the crypto market before, and if we were to dump back down to here, this would be the final last leg in the sand. Now, of course, I don't want to see weekly closes below this level, which is around $107,000, but we will have to assess where we're at that point in time. To be perfectly clear, the bear market has not started in my opinion, and we still have one last leg higher. Now, if you're new to the channel, please understand that I am not one of those bullish, hopium-based driven influencers. On the channel, I tell it how I see it, and I still do not think that the bear market has started. I know a lot of people are getting very, very worried, and you can also see this by the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. 32, we are now in fear, and I'm sure if we were to fill more of that wick, a lot more people would get even more fearful and we would find ourselves in extreme fear. Also, if you take a look at the search terms, right now we are seeing a massive dump for buy Bitcoin. And naturally, if buy Bitcoin isn't on an uptrend in terms of search volume, then naturally altcoins wouldn't either. And so you need to understand that this was always our base case, and that would be that altcoins would continue to bleed against Bitcoin. It might be annoying for me to say this, but my spot portfolio, as I've said time and time again, Bitcoin and Ethereum. There was no need to take on more risk. And if you're new to the crypto market and you fell for the FOMO to just buy a crap ton of altcoins, the good news is now you know for the next bull market. You accumulate Bitcoin near the bear market bottoms and you ride it up very, very comfortably. And then if we get the risk season that we're looking for, it's at that point in time that we can finally expect altcoins to start outperforming. But remember, even if in this cycle towards the end, altcoins start to finally outperform, it will likely only be for a matter of weeks. So those are one of those opportunities that you need to get in and you need to get out. That's why the way that I operate in this market is simply by trading it. I have my trading portfolio and I have my spot portfolio. Just a reminder, if you want to know exactly how I am navigating in this market, you have my free premium group. All you need to do to join is click the first link in my description down below, and I would be happy to onboard you into that group. The only requirement is that you sign up with one of my affiliate exchange links, just to be perfectly transparent, and you trade on there as you normally would. Bluffin is one of those exchanges that I have been using for a very, very long time, one of my favorite exchanges. And if you're trading with a little bit more capital, you can get VIP access. All you have to do is DM me on Telegram, and I would be happy to help you out here. So the point is, the way you want to make money in this market is by actively trading it and, of course, holding your spot bags from much lower levels. I have been relatively stress-free because of this, and I just wanted to read this quick message that I shared in my premium group because I thought it would be interesting to give you a little bit of hopium because, yes, I do not think that it's over. But even if it were to be over, this is how you want to play your cards. I know a lot of you have been struggling with the market conditions recently. Trust me, I get it. But I want to remind you of something that most people overlook. If you stick around in crypto and you continue to pay attention through the noise, you will inevitably make it. That I can promise you. The truth is, the people who make life-changing money in this space aren't the ones who only show up when everything is green. They're the ones who stay locked in when no one else cares. If you continue to tune into crypto into the last leg of this bull market and through the entire bear market when everyone gives up, your success will be inevitable. And that I firmly believe. Into the bear market, that's when you can go ahead and accumulate a ton of spot Bitcoin in particular and ride it on the way up for the next bull market. But it's not over. There's still going to be some phenomenal trading opportunities in this market to cash in those gains, and then you're able to accumulate at much lower levels. That is how I am personally playing it. Now, the reason I'm able to operate calmly and stay patient, as I've shared on the channel, even during turbulent times like these, is because of my spot positioning. I've built a solid foundation that allows me to wait for opportunities instead of chasing them, but in prior cycles, I would chase everything, which inevitably led me to losing most of my capital. This is indeed true. If you don't yet have a significant spot portfolio, no shitcoins, because I hope that most of you learned your lesson through either joining my group or watching the channel day in, day out. Use this market to trade smartly, grow your capital with proper risk management, and then use those profits in the bear market to accumulate Bitcoin and sit on your hands while we ride the next wave together. I won't go through all of this, but if you're in my premium group, you even know that over these past few days, I haven't posted any kind of trade that I am personally taking. I am perfectly content with just sitting on my hands. Now that we got that out of the way, look, what is next for crypto? I have been pretty vocal about Bitcoin dominance continuing to increase. And you can see here that I'm still in my Bitcoin dominance long trade as Bitcoin is now back below $110,000. There is a high likelihood here that we end up rolling a little bit lower, and I do think that this should be seen as an excellent opportunity, perhaps the last opportunity, the last big opportunity of this market in terms of trading. Now, if we take a look at gold, gold just continues to absolutely rip. And if Bitcoin really is digital gold, we should be ripping as well, but we know that that's clearly not the case. Bitcoin is still a risk asset, as much as it pains me to say it. However, if gold does pull back a little bit, we have seen historically that Bitcoin can catch a bid afterwards. So let's just see, but right now I would not be shorting gold, that's for sure, because look at this parabolic move. No one can really tell you when this thing will top out. But this is the clear sign that the market is pricing in a lot of uncertainty, especially with all of this trade war nonsense. As we know, the US and China are officially in a trade war, and if it wasn't clear to you, Trump said it loud and clear.
Are we in for a sustained trade war with China?
Well, yeah, you're in one now. Look, we have 100% tariff. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be exposed as being a nothing. We would have no defense.
Now, look at the timeline. This is what I wanted to talk about. Bitcoin, have to prepare for the worst while expecting the best. Oddly similar setup as before, but hopefully a sell-off has already happened and we won't have another one coming. This would punish leverage traders, not spot holders. And this sees us going all the way down to around $98,000. And this is relatively tame compared to what we've seen on the timeline, especially considering this price is in another big move to the upside. Take a look at these ones. Why buy digital gold at 110K when you can buy real gold at 4K? True? Are you scared? I've seen a lot of these patterns shown on the timeline repeating 2021. And you can see that actually, I have to be clear. If the monthly candle does close like this, things will not be looking good. But we still have a solid 2 weeks until the monthly candle close. But right now, this is locking in that SFP. The next thing I wanted to show you, same pattern. A lot of people are posting this over and over again. The bull market is over, according to these people. The bullish argument is that everything looks bearish, and I showed you the Bitcoin chart. We cannot ignore that fact. That's an effective strategy on the way up and has worked a lot, but at some point, if things do get bearish, they might just be bearish. This is what makes counter trading sentiment difficult at certain times. And right now, if I take a look at the Bitcoin chart, wow, we just got a move. $1,000 move, tapping below $109,000, and now we are back above $111,000 as I'm recording this video. This is what I mean here. It's going to be a very, very tricky environment to be trading. And let's just take a quick look at Ethereum. You can see that we're still just above $4,000. My base case here in terms of risk to reward long trade setups would be looking for an Ethereum long to an all-time high. Is that it? Was this bounce that we just got as I'm recording this video the final low? Only time will tell, but ultimately you can see that on the 4-hour time frame, this is starting to look like a decent candle. We tapped more into that wick all the way down to 108.5K. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if we go and revisit these levels, but looking at the Coinbase wick, guys, most of that wick has technically been filled as I'm recording this video. Look, I'm going to be very clear. I still think that we have one last leg to this bull market cycle, with ETH giving the best risk-adjusted returns. I know everyone is getting max bearish. We've seen the timeline. I took you through it, but ultimately, this is not the point in time where you want to capitulate. I'm giving a little bit of hopium, but I'm also sharing exactly how I am playing this market. And the last two things I want to show you here is that pre-market is indeed green for stocks. And if we take a look at the total crypto market cap here, you can see that essentially we are trying to hold a crucial support level, which was one of the previous all-time highs in December of last year. And so if we manage to hold above here, which at the time of recording this video, we are really trying to do so and holding that bull market support band, at that point, I do think that we will go ahead and move higher. I have stood firm on this and I still believe this to be true. One last leg higher. Now, every single little pump that we get here, people are actually going ahead and rushing into longs. So you need to be a little bit careful, as I've been talking about in my past few videos. Exercise a little bit of caution, especially if you're trading this market with leverage at this point in time. However, in my opinion, whether we go ahead and move lower or whether this was the bottom as I was recording this video, the resolution will likely be to the upside. That is just my honest opinion. Now, remember, if you want to join my free Telegram group, you do have the links in the description down below. I essentially share with you exactly how I am operating in this market, my own personal trade setups. It's not just random setups every single day, and that's why over the past few days, as I shared, there were no setups because I am not actually entering any kind of leverage trades at this current point in time, but believe me, I am looking for them. And that sums up today's quick video. As I was recording, Bitcoin hit 108.5K on our way to filling the wick even more. We've talked about this time and time again. Could this have been the fill that we were looking for? Is it time to move higher? In my opinion, I still think we see a little bit of chop around this region, but ultimately we will resolve to the upside. That is of course just my opinion, not financial advice, but I have been trading these markets for several years now, and honestly, I still think that Q4 will be bullish. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.